So a lot of things have been based around Goku so far in Dragon Ball Super, with the idea of him being the main villain and his potential new form, but that is very quickly about to change, with the rest of the Universe 17 being rounded up next episode, but more importantly, the second child of Vegeta is going to be born. And probably the most bizarre thing in DBZ is how Vegeta and Bulma had a kid. A few years before Trunks was born, Vegeta had no problem wiping out humanity, and Bulma, if you thought she was going to have a kid with anyone, it would have been Yamcha. There's a lot of fan fiction on how it happened, and to be honest, I think TFS did it the best, but there is a legitimate manga out there called Bulma and Vegeta First Kiss, and it gives detail on how this came to be. The story starts off at the beginning of the Android saga, just after future Trunks warned them about 17 and 18. Vegeta, during this time, was not a good guy. He was living on Earth, but that is only because of Goku. While he's training at Capsule Corp, Bulma is acting a lot like Bulma. She's in the other room with Yamcha, and this is very similar to what happened in the actual show. Bulma and Yamcha are sitting around having coffee together, and Vegeta pretty much walks in and calls out Yamcha for not training for the androids. This is where it starts. A few months later, Vegeta was training so hard that he broke the gravity chamber, and Dr. Briefs, while he's fixing it, he asks Bulma to work on Vegeta's new set of armor, that we eventually see him wear throughout the rest of the Cell saga. One night, when Bulma was up late working on the armor, she hears a noise coming from the kitchen. Turns out that it's Vegeta munching down some stale toast from a fridge. Since the gravity chamber's broken, there's not much he can do to pass the time. He's hungry, and Bulma takes this opportunity to make him some food. This is where they first begin to form some kind of bond. This starts out with what looks to be Vegeta almost reaching the Super Saiyan transformation. It then cuts to a shot of Yamcha driving around the city in his car, and at this point in the story, Bulma has broken all things off with Yamcha. He sleeps with way too many women for Bulma to have a nice relationship with, so what he ends up doing is going to a payphone in the middle of the night and calling her. Since there's heavy rain out where Yamcha is, when he called Bulma, she couldn't hear a thing, and so she instantly hangs up the phone. So as you could probably guess right now, Yamcha's not feeling the best, but to make things even worse, Vegeta drops by after he finishes training. In this version of the story, these two hate each other more than ever. For some reason, Yamcha thinks he can mess with Vegeta. He tells him that he's a lot stronger than he once was, and as he attacks with his Wolf Fang fist, Vegeta, with his super speed, dodges the attack and knees him right in the stomach. With that, Yamcha is done, but since Vegeta at this point in the series is still not 100% a good guy, he decides to blast him. This was nowhere near full power, but right outside Capsule Corp, Vegeta fires out an energy blast at Yamcha. What this shows is that between Yamcha and Vegeta, the only guys Bulma has had any potential with, one has no idea what he wants or what he is doing, while the other one has a set goal in mind and will not let anything distract him from achieving it. It sets up Yamcha's character really well, and it shows why eventually Bulma went with Vegeta. Bulma does get mad at Vegeta though, not because he could have almost killed Yamcha, but because he could have damaged the house. Right now, Vegeta is only really talking to Bulma because she can create drones for his gravity chamber. Vegeta isn't human and so is not thinking about Bulma. Killing Goku, that is his goal. It's late at night, and Vegeta's knuckles are cut open, but he's letting Bulma treat them. They get talking more about Vegeta's training. However, Bulma says something that really pisses off Vegeta. She calls him gay for resisting her for so long. This is where Vegeta freaks out. At this point of the series, he feels nothing. Bulma could be bare naked spread out in front of him, and he would still be more interested in his gravity training. This all happens very quickly, but Bulma asks Vegeta, why is he always like the way he is? Why is he always so mean? And without any hesitation, she goes in for the big kiss on the Prince of All Saiyans. Vegeta is in shock for the next couple of pages, and he asks Bulma, what made you take that risk? She doesn't flat out answer him, but that is how Vegeta and Bulma happened in this version of events. There are more chapters to this story, however these are the only 3 that have been made public by the author, whose name is Long Love Vegeta. If you want to read more into it, I'll leave links to all their social media below, but that is a general roundup of how Vegeta and Bulma had a kid in Dragon Ball Z. Honestly, I think this is very accurate, but yeah, let me know what you think. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next Dragon Ball video.